Sup, you fools? Matt, ESCunited, your favorite Eurovision channel. I forgot my name for a second. What's my name? Welcome to Mattitude, the Eurovision live stream where we talk about the Eurovision news of the week and answer your questions. And I am here joined by, you've seen him before, Zach, one of the contributors on ESCunited, joining us in Tel Aviv. How you doing, my friend?
That's good. I just saw the stream. It has me spinning around in my chair. I didn't realize we were live just
I
yet.
told you we're gonna go live in a few seconds.
Yeah, I
Keep
just started
spinning.
spinning and just, I don't know.
Well, that's fine. Anyway, so welcome. While we're waiting for people to join in the chat, we're starting today a little early, as you can see, because the Hungarian Adal is also taking part the first heat, and I want you to be able to be there to watch it. So we're going to be strict when it comes to time. We try not to go over too much, so you can just focus on the music. But there is still a lot of stuff going on in the Eurovision world, and we want to make sure to address that. And I see the people already here. Lyndon ESC is joining us. How are you doing? Caio Scovino from Brazil. I was going to say my part of the world, at least the western part, at least, like, but you're still like at least several hours ahead of me. And who else is there? Srulik hello, Kai Kai. So we're glad you're here. And as I said, we're going to go through some of the topics of the week, and then we'll answer your questions at the very end. Try to keep them on topic as we're going through. And then at the very end, we're going to have a general Q&A session where you can ask anything you want. And very important, this is just our weekly stream that we do, discuss the news. But afterwards, because today is the second semifinal of the French Destination Eurovision. We're going to have a separate live stream for that. So the reaction live stream, if you will. Make sure to subscribe in case you haven't done so yet so you get notified. And then we'll go from there and we'll talk about it. So yes, the link is already up in case you were wondering. But let's go through the things here. You ready, Zach?
Yes, I'm ready.
You are ready. So I'm going to just read you some of the topics that we're going to talk about, a quick review of what's happening, and then we'll go through the details. So you remember, well, Zach, you weren't there that year, 2016,
Nope.
Justin Timberlake, not representing, going to Eurovision as an Inavalak, right? A big name. So apparently Israel is trying to get another major international superstar to perform on the Eurovision stage, according to the latest reports in Israeli media. So keep in mind, these are just reports, nothing is official. Um, it's no other than flippin' Madonna. Madonna has been in negotiations apparently with Khan, the Israeli broadcaster, for a few months now, and rumor has it, according to the media, that she actually agreed to perform on the Eurovision stage as an Inavalakt. But there are all financial conversations and negotiations, and they have not come to an agreement yet. Madonna, if you want to go with a big name, you better pay, because I mean it can't get much bigger. Or if can it get bigger than Madonna as like the status? But Khan is very, very interested in getting some big names on there, at least one of them. That is their hope. Apparently, there have been some other names have been mentioned: Coldplay and Elton John. I'm like, what? So definitely a big names. Madonna has some connections to Israel. Apparently, like her manager, a longtime manager, is from Israeli. Her connection to Kabbalah and all of that stuff. So at least there's some kind of connection. But Zach, tell me, when you hear Madonna potentially at Eurovision, what are your thoughts?
Um, I'll believe it when I see it. I remember when they announced Justin Timberlake pretty late in the game, and I just kind of thought, well, I am not sure if this is going to happen. But I remember it was like back in 2015 when they first announced Australia. I texted you, and you were like, "No way! This is no way Australia is going to be in
Yes.
Eurovision." And then it happened, and they've been in it ever since. Um, Here's my one concern, and this is just my opinion. I'll state that. I kind of felt that Justin Timberlake was very demeaning to the artist in 2016 when he gave the spiel during the interval. And there's this one scene I remember. Okay, truth be told, I didn't go. I went to Spain. I was at a bar. I had a lot of drinks. So Eurovision 2016 is kind of a blur for me. The final, I remember texting Matt, you here and there on Messenger, but
Yes.
I just remember Justin Timberlake kind of gave the speech about it. It kind of came off as like, one day if you work really hard, you can be famous like me. And I just kind of sat there thinking, some of these artists are pretty well established in their countries, and maybe he should do a little bit more research. And I just worry that the same thing may happen to Madonna. But then again, I almost have a feeling if Madonna were there, she would kind of pull a Prince, show up, perform, and walk out and leave and not stay for the whole show. So I don't know. I'm curious to see if this actually does happen, what's going to be there. Although selfishly for me, going there hopefully as press, if the application and accreditation goes through, it would be kind of cool to have access to seeing Madonna live.
Yes, that is my thing. It's for selfish reasons. I'm super excited about the Madonna being there. I'm a big fan of Madonna. I mean, she's always been around since I've been around in the music scene. I'm not in the music, but I've always listened to her since I was a little kid. So this would be like a really cool thing just to see her. But you make some good points about Justin Timberlake. I was there obviously, and he was there doing one rehearsal or two rehearsals. I think just one. I want to say it was the jury show, but maybe it
Yep.
was the family show. I don't remember.
And you were
Um,
sober, unlike I.
I was sober. They don't serve any alcohol in the press center unless it's Ukraine. Um,
That was so great.
I know, but
I don't know if we really showed that on camera, but they were selling $2 beers after 6 p.m.
yeah,
And that year Sean and I created a ESC drinking game. You can find it. And during one of the things we had was like, if there's I don't know what to call it, golden shower, you'll know it. It's the sparkly firewall. And we said if one of those appeared, then you have to keep chugging. And
chugging.
when Anya was performing for Denmark, that just nearly killed me.
I know that was like anything after Denmark for you guys. It was yeah, it's a blur probably by
Yeah.
now. But anyway, yes, you're absolutely right. The thing, and I don't know if Justin Timberlake meant to be degrading like that or condescending, but it certainly came across that way. And it was. I remember it was the first day of rehearsals when we found out that Justin Timberlake was going to perform. It was like almost like a last minute, well, 2 weeks, but it's still for Eurovision terms, that's last minute. Kind of addition to it. And the question I have for you is, do you think having big names, whether it's Madonna, Justin Timberlake, Elton John, you name it, does that make sense to have that at Eurovision? Considering, should it be only about the contest or the alumni maybe, or do you see value in bringing big names to Eurovision because exposure? What do you think?
I guess so. I think, you hear about this term globalization that is thrown about, and usually it used to be about
Mm.
American fast food restaurants going into, Japan and Asia and other markets. And I kind of feel like there's a globalization of Eurovision that's happening. And
Yeah.
you're seeing it first with Australia being allowed to perform. And I have real no opinions, positive or negative, about that. But I almost feel like you could almost accuse the EBU of globalization when you start bringing in American acts. Sure, Madonna's manager is Israeli, but she's an American act. I think she's from Michigan.
I,
Um,
yeah.
Originally, I think someone in the thing said Saginaw, which I think is in Michigan. I should know this because I lived in the Midwest for a number of years. But I just worry that it's going to lose its identity as a European type of production or a European type of thing. And I see a lot of people in the chat saying, God forbid if USA ever enters Eurovision, we're done. And I, as an American or as a U.S. citizen, I don't like saying American because America includes so much more than just the United States. I would agree. I think the United States would not get Eurovision. They would submit something that was pure crap. We'd probably send some gospel or country monstrosity,
As
and
long as there are stars in Texas, my
yeah, and we would
girl.
and we wouldn't get it. We would not have an ability to understand, and then we get really upset when we did poorly. Um,
Yes.
so I just don't think it's. I don't know what to say. I'm curious to see what's going to happen, but this could go really well or this could go really bad.
Yes. Now, and also, just I see someone saying, but Celine Dion would be okay. Well, first of all, she's from Canada, so it's already, but it's still North America, so I get that part. And it would be different if, I mean, there have been plenty of American singers taking part at Eurovision, but representing the UK or some other country. I mean, 1997, Katrina and the Waves, they're Americans. and they won the contest. So I think we're talking. It's a little different about the actually American singers and performing in Eurovision, or rather than just having an international star, kind of taking the spotlight away from the actual acts
And wasn't
and
Justin
really
Timberlake,
unifying.
wasn't his song written by Swedes from the Troll soundtrack? I think it was a Swedish
Could be.
production. So it sort of made sense if that's the case. And there may be something behind the scenes. Maybe Madonna has some clever, I know she has a new album coming out, so maybe there's something that's associated with someone from Israel that justifies her inclusion as an interval act, if true.
Justify, but it's always a stretch.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yes, I went to IKEA once, therefore I have my connections. It's getting you have to stretch it a little there to make it happen. I understand why they're doing it because oh, Madonna's performing, but people tune in to watch the show because of Madonna, not because of the contest. Now there's a chance that they stick around to watch the entire show,
I,
or maybe they like the show and come back the following year. Absolutely,
and
but I'm
you
always.
know,
Yeah.
I don't think Logo played Justin Timberlake on the interval act.
No, there were like legal
The
reasons.
U.S.
Like
Yeah, the U.S. broadcast did not play Justin Timberlake.
go figure. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the ever since Logo took over owning Eurovision in the U.S., it's been worse for us as fans because we can't even watch performances or anything in the U.S.
Online.
anymore. It's blocked. It's
VPN. I
geo
have
blocked.
VPN, so I can.
Well, I can, yeah, as
Yeah.
well, but for
So
any regular fan, you have to,
they will know. Yes, they
yeah.
would have to know. So yeah. So I'm kind of with you. I'm just worried that a big star. It's good and great. It may take away from the concept of Eurovision because yes, I understand you want to have more of exposure, but it just to me it goes against the spirit. And yes, I'm in the Eurovision bubble kind of guy, so I'm like, I want Eurovision alumni and da 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 da, right? So I get I'm biased here, but even just objectively looking at it, I understand the financial aspect of it. Well, she's expensive, but just bringing in more viewers and all that stuff. But do you think that's just going to take away from the actual performances that are out there? That is my personal concern. Anyway, you guys, if you have any thoughts about it as well, let me know. We're going to talk about that later in the Q&A session as well. But I want to stay on track because we have only barely an hour today because of the Hungarian show. So let's talk about the next topic. Let's talk about it. Remember Sergei Lazarev from Russia, 2016? You're the only one. Thunder and lightning. It's getting exciting. It's still my favorite line in Eurovision, I think. I use it all the time. He won the televote in 2016, was the fan favorite. Then the juries came, were like, and win this a little bit too much. We're going to put you a little further down. So he finished third overall. And apparently he is being under consideration, the front runner, to represent Russia in 2019 in Tel Aviv as well. That's according to Komsomolskaya Pravda. Sorry, it's a Russian newspaper. They announced that the announcement will be made officially on February the 1st. The Russian representative, that is. So just over 2 weeks from today. Now, keep in mind, also, it's rumored to be he's only under consideration right now. He may be the front runner, but nothing has been set in stone. They have not yet completely decided on who's going. There are other people still in the running as of right now, but he is the one to beat from what we're hearing. And there's apparently the Dream Team that was September. They made this weird announcement that they're working on a new project, right? And the Dream Team is like, who's part of it? It's like Philip Kirkorov. Zach, you remember him, I'm sure, as well. The guy who, first of all, he represented Russia in '95, and then he was all in charge of the staging for 2016 for Sergei. And last year's the telenovela with the Doors, My Lucky Day in Moldova. He was
Mhm.
involved that as well as the Greek songwriter. Oh gosh, I'm so bad with the Greek's name. Dimitris Kontopoulos and the choreographer Fokas Evagelinos. So they're working on a project. So we're all assuming it's going to be Eurovision, right? Because that's what they've done before. And one last thing, if it's Sergei, it's reported that he's going to perform a power ballad, something grand and epic, and it has already been recorded with a full symphony orchestra. So these are the news that we have right now. Once again, this is all just according to Russian media. Nothing has been confirmed or denied by the broadcaster. So we're just here to talk about it. So, Zach, assuming It is Sergey. You didn't get to watch him or like rehearse in Stockholm, but would this be a great choice for Russia?
Yeah, I think so. I think he proved himself to be a very capable performer. Um, I kind of go back to the songs from 2016, and I was someone who just did not want Russia to win. I kind of, I remember in 2015, a lot of the press said, Mons Zemerlo, Heroes, the performance
He
was lacking soul. And, I found that the same issues were existing with Sergei's performance in 2016, but, a couple years out of it and out of the Eurovision bubble, I think it was one of the stronger performances, and you can see it. It still gets huge viewership numbers on the official website. I am, I think people may have seen me rolling my eyes, and I wasn't rolling my eyes at Sergey. I think I was rolling my eyes at how everyone keeps talking about this dream team, and you can only call yourself you can't really call yourself a dream team. You have to let other people call it. And um, I just, when I think of people talking about big names in Eurovision, when they always talk about Sasha Jean Baptiste, the stage director, and everyone acts like, she can walk on water. But, I usually just find her things to be dark and moody and just kind of the same thing over and over again. And
hmm
you can't really equate a certain team with with automatically generating success because there's going to be failure at some point. And I am curious, excited to see what Sergey could do as a power ballad. But when looking at his collection of music that he's previously released, I think I prefer his more upbeat stuff more than his balladry.
I do too. I'm the same way. So I was like, oh, I'd rather have him. I mean, I don't want him to do a second You're the Only One, but something more upbeat. I would have probably been my preference, but I'm withholding final judgment because who knows? Maybe it's going to be awesome, but we have to wait and see. Now, do you think that, like just from a artist perspective, for Sergey, it is a good call to go back because he finished in third place. Regardless of how popular you are, it's tough to beat or match or beat a third place at Eurovision. You think people will always compare him to his first effort, or you think people will be judging it on its own merit? Do you think it's a good idea for someone to come back, especially when you've done so well? That I guess is my question.
I mean, some people come back, they do really well. Johnny Logan, Carola.
That's
Some
true.
people come
But
back,
we're talking
they
about
do as well.
decades ago when we only
Yeah.
had one show, so it's
Yeah, and we talked about that the last time I was here is that everyone always thinks they can bring back an artist and they're automatically going to do well, and that isn't always the case. Um, I think the common fans not going to remember. They may look at him in 2019 and say, "Oh yeah, I think this guy was on here a couple of years ago."
mm-hmm.
Um, but other than that, the casual viewer is going to just base it on what they see, the performance, everything else. And that's why I think Sergey did so well with the televote in 2016. His performance did stand out. And, everyone was shocked when Iceland didn't qualify. But let's be real, they were right after Russia. And as good as Hear Them Calling was performance wise, it just, when you compare it to what Sergey did on stage, it really paled in comparison.
Yeah.
And that's really where ordering, I think, had a role. Someone was asking, if not Sergey, then who would represent Russia? And I'm not sure. I have my dream artist that I would like to see represent Russia, but
You
I
do
don't
or you
think anyone.
don't? You said.
Huh?
You said you do have one or
I
you don't?
do have one, but
Who-
I don't. They would never choose her. It's the woman who sang backup for Dima in 2006, for the dude from Belarus in 2007, for Annie Lorek in Ukraine for 2008, and Armenia in 2010. She's the big woman. She's a bigger build woman. I'm trying to
Sorry.
think of a polite way to put it, but she always was a dependable backup singer. I think she worked um, with one of the songwriters for all those different songs. And she was on The Voice of Russia, and she made it to the Final Four one year. But Andy from ESCCause knew her name, and he said she was a pretty well respected singer in Russia on the amateur circuit. But I would love to see, I always have a fondness of backup singers becoming the lead person. And it seemed like she just has this long standing history of being a backup singer at Eurovision. And I just feel like backup singers deserve their due to be pushed to the front of the stage at some
At some
point.
point, and I think Eurovision would be a great alternative or like option for that. Absolutely. Now, Flavius is saying Russia is the biggest country in the world. Well, not population-wise, but area-wise, that's true. But not, and there are loads of artists out there. So why pick Sergei Lazarev rather than a new, fresh artist that has lots of potential? It's a valid point. Keep in mind, it is a little bit more than just let's give someone, a chance here to shine. There's a lot going on. You want people to watch the show. You want to create a hype. You want to have someone that can really, really bring excitement to the contest, and someone like Sergei Lazarev would do that. So, granted, I'm biased because I loved Sergei's song. I loved Sergei. I interviewed him, and he was so funny. You would think he would be this arrogant dude, but he was very down to earth and sweet. And so I'm definitely a big fan of his. So I would love for him to come back. Now, as I point out, I'm always thinking, what is like? It's going to be tough to beat your record, I should say, third place. But I'm saying maybe for us in the Eurovision world, that is so, like on our main radar. But maybe it's not even that important to them. I'm sure they want to win, but it's not the only reason why they come in there, because you get great national exposure. Most artists, their most successful singles were their Eurovision songs, whether they were doing great or just a little less great. You know what I mean? So it is just a renewed push for a lot of artists, even like
Well,
Alexander Rybak. Go ahead.
well, and remember, for the broadcasters, part of the show is not so much the selection of the artists or winning for many of them, it's just getting viewers. So if Sergey is able to bring a good viewership to Russia, then mission accomplished.
Yes, and it creates a hype, a big hype in the Eurovision community for sure.
Definitely. And I'm being critical of Sergey, but I love him as an artist. I mean, I went, I think you know this. I was thinking about getting another dog, a play buddy for my dog Booker, and I found a dog and I was ready to adopt him. And I told my other half, I was like, we're gonna get a dog and we're gonna name him Sergey, after him. And well, the dog was kind of out of control, and I realized this is a lot of work to have another out of control dog. Booker's bad enough and didn't do it. So I always say, the dog that could have been mine that I would have named Sergey.
Yeah, that would have been funny. But no, I'm hoping that people will at least be open to them. I understand, as we want to see new artists, new styles. I understand why a broadcaster would pick someone with a bigger name. It's always difficult to look at from like the Eurovision perspective and just from a objective, outside the bubble objective. And I think there are two different things that sometimes clash. And I think that is what's happening here. Personally, for selfish reasons, that is, I would love for him to come back. But I'm worried that, having to beat you on record is difficult, but I don't think that's necessarily the only ultimate goal here. Alexander Rybak, he kind of probably knew he wasn't going to win again, but it's still a nice little exposure for his song, even though I didn't like it at all. So it's more than that. I get it. I've always been stuck like, well, how can you beat it? But
Well,
it's not the only goal.
let's be honest. The Norwegian broadcaster, they were just hyping him up for the win. Every
Yes.
time they mentioned him, the legendary, the one and only, and it was just like I felt bad for all the other competitors
Yeah,
because
I would
it's
have been
so
so
obvious.
pissed. I'm like, really? Why don't you select him internally? Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
They had better songs in the running there for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have to wait and see. Again, this is just nothing is confirmed. The announcement, if we can believe the Russian media, is February the 1st. So we have to wait and see. One more question here from M. Frem. Do you reckon Russia are trying to redeem themselves by sending Sergei to get in the finals again after last year? No guarantees, of course, but a better shot. What do you think, Zach? Do you think it's really just like, let's just get into the finals again and then see where it takes us? You think that's their ultimate mission here?
I mean, I actually thought even with what happened last year, I thought it was just a sure shot they were still going to get into the final. And what did they finish in the semifinals? They
14th, I think.
14th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were 11th with the televoters, I remember that. And then they were like second to last with something like that with the juries. Something like that, so it definitely dropped them. They wouldn't even qualify it only with the televoters. That was the interesting part. Go ahead.
yeah. I'm not sure what their plan is. Maybe there is some redemption they want to do. Maybe there's some PR control they need to do. But I think when it comes down to it, they probably want to get some hype back, get some viewership. I don't know what their viewership numbers were this past year in Russia, and I don't know if they can say that's due to the year off or if it was just due to the song and the results. But we'll see. I hate to keep saying that answer. We'll see, but really, as predictable as Eurovision can be, the unexpected does happen.
Yeah. And we only have 1 minute to talk about this, but let's go through real quick. As you talked about in 2015, Polina, I understand she technically wasn't booed for her personally. It was more the idea of Russia potentially winning the contest. There was a lot of booing, but she cried nevertheless. Like she felt horrible, and I felt
Well,
horrible
and
for her.
someone remember someone we were sitting with was screaming, "She's being such a good actress now." That they were saying that she was doing it for the sympathy vote, the tears. But I actually think that was pretty genuine, and
Think no, it's like no.
I think you saw it after after her final performance and her semi-final performance. She really got caught up in it, and I actually kind of liked the one thing I liked about the performance is that there were so many rainbow pride flags out there that it was sort of um, a nice juxtaposition of what people perceive Russia to be versus what we saw on camera there. And I mean, I have to, it's a different time in the United States now, but I'm trying to think of how to word this carefully without putting myself in a bad position. I think a lot of people look at the United States in a certain way, and I have to tell myself that doesn't represent us or me as someone from the United States. And I'm hoping that was the case with the broadcaster, that maybe there is this hidden imagery in pulling his performance saying not all of us are like that, and my camera just got moved.
Yeah, I saw that. It just flipped. I'll figure it out. Go ahead, keep
Yep.
talking.
No, that's all I was going to say. I want to keep us in time.
Yeah. So I mean, I do remember then with Sergey, it was more of a warm welcome there. Like everyone loved Sergey. I'm sure it has something to do with that he is easy on the
Hot.
eyes, I guess. So it was a little less. So do you think that if Russia all of a sudden leads in the jury vote, do you think we could expect a lot of more booing, or you think people are not going to worry about that, or you think is that a concern of yours?
I'm along for the ride. You know, I think we're going to talk about Spain at one point, but there's a part of me that, what's that term, that German term, Matt, about seeing,
Schadenfreude?
that's a part of the thing I like about Eurovision. Because I think I said it on our chat amongst the editors that I'm hoping for. Oh, one of the lights. Sorry, the lights went out in my office or on a timer. There we go. Um, there's a part of me that hopes to see train wrecks happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that just to watch what happens, like almost like with Germany in 2015 when Home Dude was just like, yeah, this is
Peace
great,
out.
but I don't want to do this, and I almost want to see someone who doesn't want to win the Eurovision Gala for OT win just to see what happens. I mean, I already
Oh
gave my
yeah.
thoughts about Spain. I'm Team Miki all the way. I want Lavenda to win, but I would just part of me would love to see an artist who does not want to go to Eurovision win just to see what happens.
I
And that's the
know.
real, that's horrible of me to say, but maybe with Russia, I'm curious to see what's going to happen, and I don't know how I'm going to react till I'm there because I remember in 2015 people weren't really pro Sweden as much as they were as anti Russia.
Anti-Russian. Yes, that's
And I
exactly what
think
it
that
was.
you and I were a little upset about that.
I
As
was very
hard
upset.
as much as I don't agree with some of the politics out of Russia personally, but that's another story. I just felt the way they were treating the delegation at that point was a little mean, and I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I felt the same way, and we don't have time to go through that, unfortunately, in detail. I would love to. Maybe we can do it on the next stream. But yeah, I was pretty disheartened as well that year. Anyway, let's wait and see what's going to happen with Russia. But let's talk about, in case you didn't know, it was a very nonchalantly little announcement in Belgium. The broadcaster RTBF, they have confirmed that Iliot Vasamilit, apparently he's probably just going to go by his first name, Iliot, has been selected internally to represent Belgium at the Eurovision Song Contest 2019 in Tel Aviv, Israel. And it was apparently following like a Telepro report. The broadcaster made the announcement unexpectedly, actually. Just be like, and here's our report. By the way, Elliot is going to Eurovision. Moving on. It was maybe a little more, but it was fairly like, not very exciting. Belgium now the third country to announce the artist after Armenia and then Albania. Well, Albania also has a song, but you get what I'm saying. The 18-year-old singer, he's 18, so very young. He has previously took part in the Belgian version of The Voice, now competing even bigger in a bigger competition, Eurovision. Now, Pierre Dumoulin, he is of the Roscoe group. He will be in charge and responsible for writing the song, and he was involved with Eurovision before. Um, in 2017, um, All Alone in the Danger Zone, City Lights. Were you a fan, Zach, of City
Oh.
Lights? I'm trying
uh,
to remember.
I'm trying to remember also. I just remember everyone was like, "This is gonna bomb. This is not gonna do well. She sounds horrible." Um, but it did well. It finished
Well,
fourth.
but keep in mind, if you remember, you were there. She was getting better and better throughout the rehearsals, and that's one of the things that we need to make. She was not good at all in the beginning, and then I never said she was like perfect, but she certainly found her place. So as rehearsals kept going on, things changed a little there. And that's the beauty about rehearsals. Sometimes the first rehearsal can be so bad or like imperfect, and then what do you see the final product? You remember Estonia 2015? Goodbye to Yesterday. Then they could never figure out anything with the staging and the lighting, and then on the night it looked perfect. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Did she get better in 2017? I mean,
She get a little, yeah. No, she. I mean, vocally, she was never great, but you remember she was
she got
like
over her
not even
nerves. She
moving. She
got
was,
over her nerves. Yeah, and
yeah,
I
she
know,
got over her
people keep
nerves.
saying she's a young singer, yada yada yada. I mean, someone can make the same case. Is it appropriate to have this young of a singer representing Belgium again? But age has nothing to do, I think, with professionalism. Or
No.
in professionalism, I'm not saying that someone who is nervous on stage or has stage fright is unprofessional. I mean, we see artists talking about nerves all the time. I know there is a story about Jessie J, who's well-renowned artist who still gets stage fright. And I
Yes.
think the issues that Pastora Soler had um, with performing, she took some time off because she was getting anxious during stage. And I remember, if people remember the YouTube video where she fainted and collapsed on stage.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that had to do with some of her nerves and exhaustion. Um, so I don't think people should use age against, artists. I
Well,
mean,
I think
let's be
as
honest.
the excuse.
Belgium
Oh,
won with the 13-year-old
yeah.
back in 1986.
Yes,
Yeah,
86. And
yeah.
no, certainly you shouldn't use it against or for them because, that is certainly something, if you want to do it, then you need to be on top of it. Let me just finish real quick. So he wrote, or co-wrote City Lights, clearly a fan favorite, and he was very complimentary of Iliad's talent. He was saying, as soon as I saw Iliad's performance at his blind audition, I felt that he had that extra stuff that I'm looking for in an artist, that sensitivity and crack that's needed to convey the emotions. So we have to be a little bit more patient though as far as the song is concerned. It's not going to be released until at least February, probably late February is the estimate. So but at least we have the name of the singer. Stay tuned for updates on that. So once again, Zach, we kind of talked about it briefly already. Your first impression of this very low key selection?
Um, you know, I really don't have an opinion about it. I just feel like there was just so much other news this week that it just was sort of like a PS. By the way, a Belgium
Yeah. But a name should be
master
big,
artist.
but it wasn't really. I mean, yes, it was reported, by the way, but usually a name being released, that's a huge thing, but not this time. And that kind of is kind of funny, right?
And I guess part of it is just maybe the results from last year where Belgium didn't qualify. And I think maybe just, for a while there when Belgium was finishing fourth, well, they finished, Roberto in 2013, really surprised people, did pretty well. Then you had Rhythm Inside, which finished fourth, and then Laura, which finished 10th, which I think shocked people. And
Yeah.
then Blanche finishing fourth. I think there was a really good momentum, and then just kind of, unfortunately, last year the momentum dropped. Um, but I think some people are saying on the chat that there are two different broadcasters that do odds years and even years,
Yes.
and this is, I feel like I can't remember how the two announcements were for 2015, 2013, 2017. 2013, I remember because they had the live performances and Roberto was sick and he just sounded horrible.
And he only had demo versions of the song.
Yeah. But I guess it's just sort of, we'll see what happens. And I know Lily mentioned something about, let's not judge people for professionalism and youth. Look at the junior Eurovision performers. I mean, they are well seasoned. They are ready to go. Well seasoned. That sounds horrible. It sounds like I'm talking about food, but I mean well seasoned. Like they have experience. They know what to expect.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with the way it was announced as well. But I mean, it seems like here's the artist. Well, let's see. I guess they don't care about a whole announcement, which is fine. I guess it comes down to the song in the end. But as you just pointed out, Zach, so they had this momentum going, Belgium, and you could say, or can you say that it kind of stalled now with last year's non-qualification? I still think it was a good song last year. I mean, it's subjective, but I think it was a solid effort. It was not like a lack of quality there. I think it was just a matter of staging didn't work out, and the fact that it was in the very tough semi. I mean, the juries went for it. If it were only up to the juries, it would have easily qualified. But then the televoters were like, do
I
you
think
think?
if you want my opinion, I think a lot of people are not ready for the announcement of no LCD screens in
Uh,
Portugal, and some
yeah.
people rose to the occasion, and some people just did not know what to do with it. Um, and I wonder if Belgium was one of those where just they had something really cool with the first shot that they did, focused on her eyes, and then it just kind of went with her sashaying around the front of the stage and nothing more. And I was in Brussels. I was at a bar there watching semifinal one. And we have to remember also that semifinal one last year was, everyone called it a bloodbath, and it really was. I mean,
Yes.
there are songs in that semi that would have qualified had they been in semifinal two.
Absolutely. It was. And when you look at the final results, you see most of the semifinal one songs are way higher than the second semifinal, especially with the televoters. So yeah, it was not just a made up story. It happened, but that's it's only fair. It sucks, but what else can you do? Somebody's asking, I couldn't find much on this Elliot on Google. I wonder if he's well known in Belgium. Very interesting because when I prepared for the articles, when I wrote about it, and then prepared for this live stream, I found very little information. He has this very quickly put together Wikipedia, 2 lines. I searched for his name in Google, pictures like that. He has like 3 pictures on there. I highly doubt that he's very well known. They're going with a brand new, fresh talent there that maybe will just become a big thing after Eurovision, but as of right now, he is not a name. Alexander Knobel is asking, do you think that Belgium's strategy of investing in young talent is a good idea, Zach? I'm gonna give that one to you.
Well, it's kind of a bigger question. Is investing in newer artists, younger talent, a better approach? And I think people would probably argue in a couple different ways. The first way I would think is that maybe the more established talent don't want to compete in Eurovision because there's only one way to go, and that's down.
Yes.
And then I always like to think of Eurovision sort of as a good stepping stone for artists. But it does piss me off when artists kind of poo. So I'm trying to think how to say the S word without saying the S word. They poo on on Eurovision, like what's her name from the UK, Sandy Shaw, where she sort of doesn't want anything to do with it. I don't like that.
Yes.
I like the artists when they are willing to say, Eurovision, it's kind of a crazy show, but I gained a lot from it and I have no regrets. And I think Belgium strategy for the odd years is a good one. Um, I think you've seen like the 2015 artist, and I'm not saying his name because I don't want to butcher it. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Who?
Rhythm Inside. How do you pronounce his name?
Oh, Loic.
Is it Loic?
Loic?
I don't
Nutbit?
know.
You know who you're
I,
talking about. Yeah, it's
I've led
fine.
you astray before by telling you it's pronounced Belarusian and not Belarusian, and I don't want to make the same mistake again.
All right.
But he seems to have a pretty decent career since
Oh, yes.
Eurovision.
Yes, he does.
Blanche, I'm not sure about. Roberto, I haven't heard anything from, and maybe it really depends on the artist and what they can provide. And
Yes.
it's kind of Eurovision's the first step, but it's really up to them at that point to figure out what they do and to kind of create an identity that goes beyond Eurovision.
Yeah. All right. No, that's a very good point. Very nicely summarized. And I just want to add at the very end, I personally am glad it's a guy. Not that I have an issue with women, of course, but after 3 ladies, I think it's in Belgium time for another dude to take the stage. And here's the thing: I'm usually excited when I see a guy's name come up, only because Eurovision in general is very female dominated. Like there's always at least 60-70% are women performers. So I'm always kind of hoping it's going to be more of an even split. As a matter of fact, I wish there would be more bands as well. And so every time there's a guy, I'm like, yay, we're going to bring up the numbers a little bit because I do enjoy that as well. So I'm happy about that Belgium went with the guy this year. And one last question before we have, because we have not much time left. Jesus.
Oh, and everyone's saying that Blanche's new music is really good, so I guess I need to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last, do you think that Belgium will ever return to a national final? Granted, we have two different broadcasters; they have different approaches. But for the last few years, both of them have only done the internal selection. Do you think they should, or do you want them to go back to a national final?
Oh, it really depends. It's not really our decision as fans, unfortunately. It's the broadcasters deciding what's going to be budget wise, what's the most economically viable, as well as what's going to help get ratings. And I just am not sure what the strategy of Belgium is. It seems for me with Spain, their prime motive is to get a show that drives ratings
Yes.
nationally in Spain, and maybe less so about how they actually do at Eurovision.
Then the
Uh,
Netherlands does the opposite because they do it internally now. And number one, they're doing much better doing internally, but they'll also get bigger names, right?
mhm.
Go to Eurovision, which probably would have not been interested if they had to go through a national final.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in real quick.
No, that's it. I know it's yeah, we're looking at 112. I want to
Okay,
give it
yeah,
some time.
let's
Yep.
let's move on because the last thing, and by the way, guys, we're going to talk about Destination Eurovision semifinal two real quick. Keep in mind that we'll have a reaction video later on. I will be joined by Robert, where we're going to discuss the results. But what we're going to do right now is go through the 9 songs, or just pick who we believe is going to qualify tonight based on our impression right now. Just like last week, though, we saw the performances and the sound. Things change quickly, so this is all subject to change, but we can only go with what we know right now. And you guys also were able to vote in our poll. So let's go for them one by one and see if we believe they're going to qualify. Um,
Do you really have to?
yes, we do, Zach. There's no way out. Let's start with "Deux sont soit un bon filet." I don't speak any French, so forgive me. I don't know how to pronounce it. Zach, do you think that one is going to qualify?
No, it's catchy, too much autotune.
That's my thing. I have a hard time getting past autotune songs. Only because he may be a great live performer, but it's very autotune and it bothers me as well. I'll say no as well. I just don't think the melody is in any shape or form memorable enough to be like, ooh, I want to vote for this. So a no
Yeah.
from me as well. Robert also sent me his predictions to see who's going to qualify. He said no as well. Our readers, they actually say no as well. As a matter of fact, they put it in last place. Only 3% voted for him. So he is considered last place right now. According to the fans, overall, it is 4 no's from us. Sorry, Dusan, we don't believe it's going to happen. But if you do, congratulations. But no. All right, so next up, it's the Divas, La Voix d'Aretha. I am going to go first on this one, and let me just say that they're on my radar. To me, as I pointed out
What?
before, what?
What? No.
They are. Not because I don't think they're going to qualify. First of all, it's like the Weather Girls meet the Pointer Sisters, right? And their vocals, I feel as the juries may just really appreciate if they really rock the stage. They're going to be like, "Oh, like yes, mama," and that is going to be that could be a really big factor into getting a lot of points. However, I just
You
don't
know,
see it anywhere going with the televoters. So
I'm not gonna say names, but I remember someone from a delegation in 2017 telling me that their song would qualify because the juries would represent the musicality of it. And I remember just sitting there smiling and nodding, and then just saying, "There is no way this country is going to qualify." And I am not going to say which country it was,
I know what you're
but I
talking about.
will
Yeah.
say if we told you, you would crap your pants. Um,
Yes.
my thought about the divas, I wrote really old fashioned in a bad 80s sort of manner. And sorry, I had to put my glasses on because the notes I wrote were really small on my screen. But if they sound really good live, that may do something. I don't
Vocals
know.
can affect juries for sure. A good vocal performance, and even like an outdated '80s song, which I'm usually gravitate towards. But
I don't know. I just think songs that make references to pop culture, the voice of Aretha,
hmm
it's just kind of an automatic cringe factor for me. It's
it
kind of
is a
like
little.
that Wanted song, like "Walks Like Rihanna," or when what's her name from Latvia started talking about,
Johnny Logan, beautiful
yeah, and
songs.
writing songs with Paul McCartney, and yeah.
I forgot about that song. I'm laughing now. Sorry. Oh gosh, this.
I'm just laughing at Thomas's comment about the Divas is like San Marino 2017. Um, anyways,
Anyway, let's move on. So I say no as well. So you said no, right? It's not going to qualify. Is that your answer?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
It's a no from me
they're
as
not.
well. It's a no from Robert. And the readers put oh, actually in eighth place. I'm not going up in order on purpose, but Divas are in eighth place with with our readers, 4% of the votes. So it's a no there as well. Next up, it's Hugo Ce qui me blesse. You go first, Zach. Is he going to qualify? Yes or no, and why not?
In all honesty, I'll say this: there's only one song that I'm confident is going to qualify,
Mm-hmm. Well,
and
don't jump the gun yet. Don't say which one it is.
I won't say, but it's not this one. This one I have borderline.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But do you say yes or no? Is it borderline yes or borderline no?
I'd
You have
say
to pick four. You
border.
have to pick four.
I'd say. Let me look. I'd say borderline. Yes.
Okay. I am actually a little bit more confident than you are. It just seems that kind of song. It gets the a young teenager girl vote, right? He's cute. It's that kind of song. They will go for that like crazy. I do think it's also the kind of song that tends to do well with the juries. I think of Max Cinnamon from last year, and that kind of sound usually does well. It gives me a little bit of that Sweden boy, they'll do really well there. So he gives me a little bit of that vibe. It's not going to win the whole thing, but I think actually I have it ranked probably finishing in second place tonight. So I am going
All
to say
right.
yes as well. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit more
This is
confident
where
than you
you and
are.
I start going in different
Directions.
directions. Yep.
Well, Robert, who's going to be on the stream later, also said yes to Ugo, so we got three yeses as well. The readers said that Ugo's going to finish in third place. 13% of the votes went to him, so we once are, even though you were a little bit more on the fence, as of right now, we have four yeses for Ugo. He is going to go through. If anything comes up in the chat, Zach, let me know. I'm just looking at the list right now of the results in case I missed something. Who is next? Okay, it is Gabriela. On cherche encore. I will say it's young. It has attitude. It feels 29, like it's 2019. Um, if she delivers it live, she cannot just stand on the microphone and kind of be like la la la. She has to bring that energy. Assuming she's going to do that, this is going to fly through. I will say yes.
Is she the one that in the rehearsals has the fiddle,
I haven't seen the rehearsals yet.
the violin?
I haven't
I
seen
think
the.
it's either her or Philip Elise that have a fiddle.
Okay.
Um, yeah, this one I have borderline.
As
Yes.
well. Again, another borderline yes. Okay, so we got two yeses. Robert says yes. No, wait. No, he has yes. Sorry, yes, he has it as yes. So three yeses. The readers, Gabriela on cherche encore, is 24% in second place. So a huge fan base there. So four yeses once again. We don't disagree right now. That's got to change here. Um, Next up is Noémie, ma petite famille. What do you think?
I put borderline no.
Borderline no. So you think it's potential that it's going to go through?
Yeah, just because it's middle of the pack, given that I have Doutzen and the Divas as
Mm-hmm.
a no.
Okay, on this one, I paid attention. They are into like it's one of the few songs, if not no, there are like a couple of them who actually put forward a full blown music video, and it was very well done. I feel as they may have a vision for this song. I feel like this is going to look really really good on stage. Just a hunch. I have no evidence with that, but I definitely feel as if this may be under um, estimated. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, that this could actually be surprising. Some people are complaining about it's that stupid un, deux, trois, da da da. I'm like, most people won't even catch that. It doesn't matter. You can sing about fly so high, why, oh my, bye bye, and people vote for it. So this is not going to
They
prevent
should have
it.
just put the Junior Eurovision song through for adult Eurovision.
Oh, that was actually so good. That was my favorite. Oh, I loved it. I totally agree. But I think this could actually surprise as well. As of right now, I agree with Zach. Zach, it's a borderline kind of situation. I also said no, but if it goes through, I'm not surprised.
What did Robert say?
Robert said no.
And what did the poll say?
The polls put her in seventh place only with 4% of the votes. So it's four no's from us as well. So this, I was like, oh, this is going to be a mess with everyone, but it seems so far we're agreeing on everything.
Hmm.
So, but that's got to change, right?
Yeah.
What about Emmanuel Moi, La Promesse?
I know the story behind the song, and I was looking forward to it. But hearing the song and then seeing the rehearsals, I just feel like it's going to be Ireland 2018 all over again. And I put it as borderline no, although he is a pretty well known act in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So televoters may. I just don't know if this is again me in the ESC bubble. Um, I'm on the fence about this. The being in the bubble says no. Thinking about the regular normal viewer, yes,
Yes.
if
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I totally know what you're saying. So, but for now, it's a no, according to you. I like the song actually.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta. I also said no to this one, but not because I don't think it's good. I like it. It does it for me. I'm like, oh, this is pretty. I like when he does the head voice thing. It's like, oh, so pretty. So, but I understand that this may a little bit not as impactful melodically than some of the others that like you compared it to, not compare, but certainly mentioned 2018. I can see that. I just don't think that it is melodically quite as of a the kind of song that I think will stand out, unfortunately. But I love him as an artist, and I really like the song. So if it go through, I would be thrilled. But my gut tells me this is a no go, and so I'll say no as well.
Yeah.
Robert says no. So three no's from the team and the readers. They put him in sixth place.
Hmm.
4% as well. So once again, four no's from ESCunited. Man, this is like a pattern here. But we still have a few more. Maybe we'll disagree on something. Let's talk about Tracy Dessa. Pour acquis. I'll let you go first again, Zach.
Yes, will qualify. Current, modern, stands out. People will love the song or hate it because it stands out, but it's exciting. Granted, I haven't seen that rehearsal yet, but I expect something good out of it. It's going to
Good.
stand out, but part of me was just kind of like, why are we even doing this? Because I already know I already know who I believe is going to win, and they're not in this semi.
I
But
see. I disagree with you actually on that one. But we're going to talk. Let me go. I actually going to blow your socks off. I'm going to say no. I think that Gabriella and Tracy will battle for the same vote. It's that modern, young,
what?
current thing. And I think Gabriella just has a stronger song. I think that hers is way more memorable. And the rap part, you will probably heard it a little bit more for it be more accessible for the main folks. I could see this one flopping with the juries and over Gabriella. And I'm not saying I have it as a borderline, but I had to cut someone out. And I think due to the same kind of demographics that these songs are going for, Tracy will lose out. And I'm going to say no.
Constantino said Poraki slaps, and I can't tell if that's a compliment or a put down.
Maybe he meant sucks? Or no, I don't know.
Slaps.
I don't know. All right. Um, let's see. Let's do. Robert says also yes to Tracy. So it's a 2-1 right now. Comes down to the readers. The readers, it was a borderline with the readers. It was not a clear result with Tracy Dessa. She finished in fourth place.
Oh,
So
Lily's letting me know slaps is a compliment. I guess I'm just not down and hip, yo. Where,
oh,
yeah.
it slaps. Okay. So it is a 3-1, so I'm overruled here, but it's not as cut and dry. So Tracy is in fourth place with the readers. I put in fifth place in ranking, so my predictions. So we'll have to wait and see. So right now it's a 3-2-1. And let's move on. We got two more. Simone, tous les deux. I will say it's going to win tonight. It's going to win it all
I
tonight. It's going to be number one. So clear yes.
I wrote fan wank in my notes.
Fanwank,
I just
really?
I don't see it. I mean, it's old fashioned. It's not bad, but I just don't get it. And maybe I just am out of touch with reality because obviously I thought slaps was a put down, and everyone's telling me slaps is a good thing, and slaps means slay, which I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just old. My
Shut up.
students remind me every day that I'm old. And
Yeah, well, I'm not around students, so I don't get it a whole lot. In my work of things, I'm the youngest one, so I'm one of the younger ones, so it's not
oh
too
god,
bad.
those days.
So it's definitely
It,
something that I
I wrote
gravitate
as
towards.
qualifying.
Yeah. So you say
Yeah,
yes, though?
it just seems like everyone is in it totally into the song. So maybe I'm just the odd person out, and I have it down as qualifying.
Yeah. Okay. So Robert also has it as a yes. I'll talk to him more about if it was close or not. We only have a yes for him. The readers put it also in first place. 32%, almost a third of the votes just went straight to Simone as a qualifier. And that's where we're at. And the last one we have here.
That's your winner, isn't it?
Huh?
I'm gonna cut you if you say Simone's gonna win this whole thing.
I tell you afterwards.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
take that means a yes.
Philippe Pillis, Madame La Lepa. Um, Zach.
I put borderline. I put wait. I put borderline. I put this one on the fence.
But a no, right? Because I think you already have four. You have Simone, you have Gabriela, you have Ugo, and you have Tracy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a no for you on the.
Yeah.
I actually did something similar. I had it as borderline, but I put it as a yes. I was a little bit more daring here. I do think that, as I point out, Tracy may lose out because of the shared kind of, vote there. And Madame Le Pa, when I first heard it, I mean, if it was only the instrumental part, I would just listen to it all day. It is so amazing. It makes me so happy when that part comes on. It's so darn good. But then I was a little bit, the chorus and the verses are a little like too quiet, less energetic. But this is the kind of song I think that could come alive when performed on stage. So if she does it right, this could be really, really a surprise song. And I had to put one surprise in, and this is Madame La Pa, I say, is going to qualify. So at the very end, Robert said no as well. So Robert and you have 100% in agreement when it comes to the qualifiers. The readers put Madame La Pa as a borderline qualifier, but no. In fifth place with 5% of the vote. So there's a big gap between the first four are way ahead of the rest of the pack. So it seems to be a very clear top four. Robert, Zach, and the readers completely agree on the top four. And I'm almost in agreement, but I just flipped around Tracy and Philip Pillis because we all know there's going to be at least one surprise tonight. It's not going to be as clear and cut as we think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So that is what we have. Those are officially the four predictions coming from ESCunited. And later on, Robert and I will go through the results and discuss exactly what's happening. We don't have much time left because we're at the hour and Hungary is going to start in a couple of minutes. So, Zach, you said we don't have the winner is not coming from the semi. Am I correct? That's what you
Yes.
believe?
Bilal's gonna win. We
Why?
argued about
Yeah.
this before the live stream started, but
Yes.
I think okay, if I saw his videos and didn't see that performance, I'd hate his guts. But because I saw the performance first, not knowing his following and what he does on the videos, I actually kind of dug it. I think that's one of those songs where we're going to get something a little bit more polished if he makes it to Tel Aviv.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know. There's just something. I don't know. I kind of like the tone of his voice. There's something. I guess it's not what I would have expected coming out of his voice. There's kind of this disconnect between what he looks like, and I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. There's just something that I find is likable about the performance, even as it's trying too hard, and at the same time, it's still very not polished. And I don't know. I don't know. There's something special about it for me, and I don't know if it's special in a good way or a bad way. But I kept wanting to go. It was kind of like the Miki song La Benda. I kept wanting to go back and listen to it over and over.
Yeah. So no, that's fair. That is fair. That's how it goes. By the way, Lily Love says Madame Lepas has an accordion, and you know how the French get buck wild for an accordion. If that ain't true, then it's true. And I love me an accordion during the instrumental part. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love it. I'm already excited now. Shouldn't I'm like I'm
Seeing
hoping that it's going
Sebastian
to do well.
saying his live vocals are terrible, and I don't know. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
finish this because I was
Yeah, well,
not
Matt
as
Simone's gonna win. It's all right.
now, I'm not as impressed with his staging. What happened there? Yes, he can still polish it. I don't know if the song thinks about being a king, and I felt as needed to be more grand, and I didn't feel as the grand vibe came across as much as I would like it to be. I like the song, and I like him. He actually came into the chat a couple of weeks ago in
Oh,
our live stream.
I really did just okay, Cass.
Oh, really? Yeah, he was here and he said, I thank you for all your support and your input. I really appreciate it. I hope I'm going to make you proud. And if he wins, I'm not going to be upset. I just feel as I'm going to feel similar to the song as I feel about actually Madame Monsieur's Merci. I liked it. I was never as wild about it as the majority of the people, and the results at Eurovision were kind of more in line with what I was thinking. But I feel as it's still overhyped a little because he has so many young fans. And he didn't win. He won the jury, the televote as well, but it wasn't as much of a margin as like Madame Monsieur did in the finals. So we have to wait and see. Yes, I think Simone is the dark horse here. I do think it's a kind of song. It's not a Eurovision friendly. Like, why do Eurovision fans like it? Because it's not the kind of song they gravitate towards. They're like Eleni Foureira. They like hip shaking music. Yet there's something about the song that a lot of people gravitate towards. It's a simple song, mostly just piano and her voice, and then a little bit of trumpet, I think, at the end. But that's it. And yet people are like, oh my god, this is so pretty. There's something magical about it. And if people gravitate towards that, even the ones that just like to dance, and yet there is something here. I just have a feeling this could surprise, and I think this will definitely be the jury favorite.
Well, Wonder Weather is saying I want Sylvan to win, and I thought I actually kind of like that performance as well.
Oh, I loved it. He's my number
I,
two.
yeah, and I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool as well. But I don't think I would have noticed it if it wasn't for the staging.
Well,
Uh,
that it comes down to though, because the song was not fine in recording. I like the chorus. I don't never been a big fan of the rap talky stuff that he has done.
I liked his other song. I liked him when he performed the song he wrote for the other artist
Oh, which one was that?
because
I,
they do they do their the cover song and then they do
oh
the
yes,
Eurovision song
yes,
and
yes,
he
yes.
did the song that he wrote for another artist
Mm-hmm.
and I really dug that. Yeah.
I like this. The staging, but that's what I'm saying. The staging is so important. Don't underestimate it. It was so appropriate work with the song. It's probably my number two now. But Simone is still my personal number one, and not just because it's my number one. I think it's going to do well. I just I just get this feeling from people the way they gravitate towards it. People who are not supposed to gravitate towards it, and that is just very telling.
Well,
Granted, I haven't seen the performance yet. She could totally suck.
granted, whatever happens, France isn't going to win Eurovision, so
I want to go to Paris, so it's such a cheap flight from here.
I,
Okay.
I know I'm such a Debbie Downer about. I think France always has a good batch of songs, but it's kind of like it's a good batch, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crabby. It's the weekend. I'm in
Yeah,
my
have some.
office.
Just go out. You're fired. No, I'm kidding. I like your negativity. It kind of adds to my positive thing. We gotta have a good cop and a bad cop. I'm not kidding. You know I love you. So it's
I
just me
don't.
driving the bus right now over Zach. What do you think? Okay, just we have to answer a couple questions. People were so patient with us. I know we're running over time. What do you think of all the of Eurovision Australia Decide songs so far? Eurovision Australia, I have not listened to them yet. I want to wait until they're all released, and I'm going to do a reaction video. So I have not listened to them yet, but the video will come as soon as all songs are out. Zach, have you listened to them yet?
I listened to the Courtney Act song because my friends are all about RuPaul's Drag Race and ignore me anytime I try to talk about Eurovision. And I would love to have a RuPaul's Drag Race person there just to get them to buy in, just so I can shut them down. Again, this is
Mm-hmm.
being crabby because they always talk about how stupid Eurovision is, and it pisses me off when I have to listen to them talk about how great RuPaul's Drag Race is and how Sasha Velour and her performances on Walls is so revolutionary. And I'm just like, Eurovision did it years
Yes.
ago, so it's not that revolutionary.
It is not, and it bothers me
But
as well.
the song's not that great. I don't think the song's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then there is the preview of the. There is a couple other songs where there's some clips. Nothing really, you know, floated my boat at this point. But I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. Um,
Yeah. And I want to just add to the point that you just made. I completely agree because they talk about it's so revolutionary that what they see at RuPaul. I get the same thing. People make fun of Eurovision all the time. Oh, that stupid staging. And granted, sometimes there's stupid staging, but there's often a lot of amazing stuff that happens at Eurovision. And then they talk about how great it is at the MTV Music Awards. I'm like, yeah, this has
oh,
done.
like when J Lo performed at American Idol and had her projection dress, and I was just like, big whoop de doo. We've already
I
seen
know
that
that's so
before.
2012.
Yeah.
And even done better in 2013 by Moldova. I think Moldova perfected it, but anyway, yeah. So it's like, and that's what bothers me. I'm like, you're just saying that because it's foreign to you, but we do the same thing in America. But then it's cool, you know. So it's just annoying to me.
I don't know. I just don't think I just struggle with drag queens being role models for young LGBT youth because part of the drag queen game is to, you know, throw shade, you know, spill the tea, and it's all kind of jokes. It's joking amongst their community, and I don't think
Yes.
that really translates well. And then you have, you know, there's someone who said, "Oh, this little kid who said someone on RuPaul's Drag Race was a role model." I was just like, no, no, bad queerling. That's not a good role
I don't know
model.
if role model
There's,
is
you
the
know,
right
maybe, and this is,
word.
and I'm
Yeah.
just sounding like an old fart. I totally get it. I maybe it's just a generational thing. I don't get it. I accept that, and that's why I need my students to remind me that I'm old and I'm irrelevant now, and I have to start raising
Stop
them to
talking
be the
about your being
future.
old. Shut up. It's just I get what they're saying with being a role model because it has changed. You know, same with Bilal Hazani. He is not transgender. He is not a drag queen. He is just a guy who is
He
playing
is
with his feminine
fabulous.
side. He's
Yep,
fabulous.
he is fabulous.
No,
I
I
was
was just
just
saying he's gonna play with
yes.
his feminine side. So and that's just what they do right now. There is a little bit more of a blur in a lot of parts. I very much agree with it. I hated this whole thing, especially in America here. You know, these are boy toys. Okay, I'm not referring to Netta song, and these are the things that girls play with, right? And the
But rappers
science.
are like Offset, and they're all wearing skinny jeans. Young Thug was in a dress in one of his album covers. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
the younger generation, I think, gets it more, and are more open to stuff about that. And that's what I'm excited about. And maybe I'm just looking at it differently. And I I just think back to when, you know, as a gay man, I used to say being closeted and not out was an art. And I am sort of jealous at the new generation where they can be themselves and be out and fabulous and be who they are and not give a rat's butt about you know what other people say. And there's partially some
Depending
jealousy
on
that
where
I
you
have.
live, though, where you grow up, there is a big discrepancy there as well. But I hear your point. Yes, in general, like in
I grew up in Hawaii where it's supposed to be open and you know, but it really isn't. And so you know, you see the presidential candidate who was announced for Hawaii, and I'm totally against her because of some of the things she did in the past that did hurt
oh
my
yes, I
family
forgot
growing
her
up. But
name.
that's
Yes.
sorry, I'm bringing up. We should go back to the Eurovision stuff. So
All right, so one more question here. Let's see. Oh, I wonder what's going on here in Austria. Eberhard Forka has already announced the announcement twice for mid-December, and nothing happened. Eberhard Forka is. I never heard of that name. Is that someone? Have you heard of him? Is he supposed to represent Austria? That's a
yeah,
very German name, Eberhard.
A lot of times I don't know who the artist is
I don't know
until they're
either.
announced. And like I said, it's a stepping stone. They may be well known in certain segments of a fan base, and that's the great thing about Eurovision. It gives them this platform to have hundreds of millions of viewers introduced to them, and it's all about getting sales and getting streams now, and great for them. So if this individual is who's announced, hopefully we get the news and we can learn more about him or her
Yeah.
or them. I don't know which gender.
Oh, you are totally. Thank you for We were just about to leave. Thank you so much. Back to Slay and make the weekend complete. ESCunited, Mad Rocks. One Zach too, of course. Thank you again for the super chat. 3 songs to rate. Okay, we're gonna rate them, then we gotta go. Oh gosh, Zach, you have good knowledge of the past. Austria, 1988. Is that Venedig im Regen? No. Which one is? You, Tauli, you need to help me out. You need to give me the name at least, so I remember
I see
which one.
Austria 2005, and that's all I needed to see because I love that song.
Well, yeah, who doesn't? Eurovision Austria 1988. Um, Lisa Mona Lisa. I don't remember this one. It's one of those songs I guess totally fell off my radar. You, Tauli, you always have the most interesting outlook when it comes to songs because I do not remember that one at all. So kudos for you. 1965, Sweden. Is that Absent Friend? Oh, Absent Friend. Love Absent Friend. It's probably my favorite Swedish song from the 60s. Underappreciated. It's like operatic. Love it, love it, love it. I don't understand why it didn't do better. It's one of my favorites from the 60s from Sweden. Do you know this one, Zach? Yeah, I don't blame you. And then Austria 2005, we just mentioned, we both love that one to death. I think it is so cute. It sucked that it was the first song of the night, but you gotta have some yodel. Like Eat Your Heart Out, Romania 2016. 17, not 16. Any
He
other
was
thoughts?
adorable. What he was.
Yes, he was. I
He
remember
was.
you keep talking about it. He was adorable. That
Come
was
on.
fun. That was a fun.
I don't fangirl over too many artists. And he would have been one. Um, and everyone knows that I fangirled big time over Pasha in 2013.
mm. Oh,
But
Pasha. Yeah, you were impossible.
I know. I just thought he was going to be this cute little Twinkie boy, and then he was kind of a bro.
He was a total bro and just like
Well,
almost like
he was also
crazy.
he was pretty angry. I mean, just because he just was not getting what he wanted for the staging and everything else, and he was throwing a fit.
Yeah, he
Um,
was a little temper tantrum there. That is true. I
but
remember that.
he was nice to us. I mean,
Very
he put
nice.
up with my crap, me fangirling over him live on the interview, and yeah,
It'll always be there for the masses to
it'll
see.
always be there on YouTube. Me and sarcastic clap from Ukraine 20.
And me holding the camera, trying not to laugh. It was like, oh my
Well,
god, Zach!
if someone had not pushed that camera to put me right in center view, that would have never been seen because you told us that that camera was not placed to have our reactions. And then someone pushed it and it moved so I was center frame so you could see me giving sarcastic slaps when our claps when Greece and Sweden were chosen as finalists.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this one. Thanks again, Zach, for joining us. You'll be back soon, right?
Yes, next week, right?
Is it next week? I don't even sure. I'm just asking you. Hopefully you'll be back. I'd have to look at our calendar. I don't have it memorized just yet. Once again, reminder, folks, enjoy France, enjoy Hungary if you're late already. And we'll be back later, Robert and I, talking about the results of the second semifinal and then slice and dice it any way you want it. So let's call it a night. Have fun, y'all, and see you later. Bye.
Bye bye.